Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us again for our Sunday night Bible study.
Yes, yes.
Today we will be in Revelation 9.
Mm.
Revelation 9. We're going to do about 12 verses. Split it up. It's 20 verses. So what we'll do uh, next week or the week after, we will break it up. Um, Whenever God providentially ordains,
Yeah.
we will break it up and finish off chapter 9 and then start chapter 10. It's always good to do that. So you can get a precursor of the last chapter and then get the start of the new chapter. But we will be in chapter 9, verses 1 through 12, talking about the fifth trumpet. So it's going to get hairy here for a second. Hopefully, you got a lot of notes, right?
It looks like it.
Yeah. But let's pray and get in the Word. Hopefully, we'll be out of here. You know, it won't take too long. I won't talk too much. Father, thank you for today. Thank you for your Word, Lord. Thank you for Sabbath, your Sabbath rest, Lord. Let us be diligent in your Word today. Give us the strength and the wisdom and the knowledge, Lord, uh, to proclaim your word correctly, to exposit it correctly. Uh, Thank you for the notes and the outlines that you have given us, Lord, to help with this task. And thank you for giving us the internet and both in many kinds of ways, Lord, to share your word with many people. In Jesus' name. In Revelation, we're going to do 1 through 12. Christy's raring to go. I got some pretty good notes.
I'm looking.
Oh, yeah. She's digging. So let's begin. Then the fifth angel sounded. And now we're talking about this is the fifth trumpet. We've already went through four in chapter 4. Yeah. We finished off the seals and then we started the trumpet judgments. Remember, we had the vegetation was struck with the first, the seas were struck with the second, the fresh waters were struck with the third, and the heavens were struck with the fourth. This is the fifth trumpet. Now the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fallen from heaven to the earth, and to him was given the key to the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and smoke arose out of the pit like the smoke of a great furnace. So the sun and the air were darkened because of the smoke of the pit. Then out of the smoke a locust came upon the earth, and to them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. And they were commanded not to harm the grass of the earth, or any green thing, or any tree, but only those men who do not have the seal of God on their foreheads. And they were not given authority to kill them, but to torment them for 5 months. Don't you love it when he's specific on time periods?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, their torment was like the torment of a scorpion when it strikes a man. In those days, men will seek death and will not find it. They will desire to die, and death will flee from them. The shape of the locust is like horses prepared for battle. On their heads were crowns of something like gold, and their faces were like the faces of men. Now, reference this back when we go back. References back. This is John in his first century mentality
Mm-hmm.
trying to reference what this stuff looks like. Verse 8, they had hair like a woman's hair, and their teeth were like a lion's teeth. There's a when it says I like or like,
Mm-hmm.
it's John trying his best to rationalize in his first century mind what it actually looks like. So he was using first century references to see what it looks like. And they found, and they had breastplate like the breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was like the sound of chariots with many horses running into battle. They had tails like scorpions, and their stings in their tails, and the power was to hurt men 5 months. And they had as kings over over them the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew was Abaddon, but in Greek his name was Apollyon. Apollyon? Apollyon? Would you say that? One woe is past, and behold, two more woes are coming after thee. Correct?
Yep.
There's a lot there. So we're in the fifth. This is just the fifth trumpet. We still got two more trumpets to go. The last reference is woes. Is basically a judgment or rationale. It's a judgment.
Yeah.
Is that good for you?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
I have a little bit
I
more.
didn't check with it before.
It gives me a little bit more room now.
What?
I can have more room for I could have it like this, and it's not blocking my face.
Oh, okay. I
No,
apologize.
you're good.
We're just getting the things together. When the fifth trumpet blows, it will be as if every prison on earth threw open its doors and set the vilest offenders free. Only these doors will belong to hell. Now, this is the bottomless pit. This is hell itself. Now, I have my opinions here or there. Is what if hell is open right now, but I don't think it is. That's my opinions. I don't think there's anybody in hell right now. I think hell is being opened at this point. I don't think anybody is burning in hell. There's no demons in hell. Satan is not in hell. There are no people in hell. That's my opinion. You could have a different opinion if you'd like. I would never tell you anything different. But the doors are open in hell, and the offenders will be demonic instead of human. The star is a metaphor for a supernatural being, him or her, not a celestial body, an unnamed being who falls to earth during the judgment of the fifth. He's falling from heaven, where he accuses us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Day and night. Go ahead.
I'm up.
Oh, verse. Oh, yeah. Verse 1. The fifth angel sounded, and I saw a foreign star falling from heaven. To him was given the key to the bottomless pit.
Okay. When the fifth angel blows his trumpet, a star falls from heaven to earth and receives the key to the shaft of the bottomless pit. Clearly, the star in question is not an intimate object, but a person. Isaiah 14:12 refers to Satan's fall from heaven and calls him day star. At some point prior to the dawn of human history, Satan, also referred to as Lucifer, rebelled against God and led other angels in the rebellion. Some of these fallen angels have been locked up in the abyss, which in another term is the bottomless pit.
Mm-hmm.
Satan received the keys to the abyss and releases them. Some Bible teachers equate this event with a description of Satan's banishment from heaven in the middle of the tribulation, casted down to the earth. Satan will relentlessly pursue Israel and hope to destroy her. Revelations 12:1-10. Got a couple more weeks before we get there. It is important to observe that the key to the abyss does not belong to Satan. The verse explicitly says that the key must be given to Satan. God permits him to have the key and unleash the means of the particular judgment, so sinners will see the end results of their own evil.
Yeah, because Satan at this time, right now, as we're speaking right now, is in front of is in the throne room of God, accusing us.
Doing this.
Well, accusing us to the Father.
Mm-hmm.
And as for us, we are being our arbitrator or mediator is Christ himself. When Satan accuses us, Christ says, "Hey, that's covered by my blood.
Mm-hmm.
That's covered by my blood."
Yeah, he sits there and just squawks.
Yeah, and he's standing there. So what at this period in time, it looks like that the Father cast him out for good, that he cannot be in the throne room of God anymore. He's still an angelic being. He's he was cast out to the earth, but he's still able for some way or reasoning, we don't know, that he's allowed into the throne room to accuse us day and night in front of the throne of God, saying, "Did you see what Robbie said? Did you see what Robbie was looking at? Do you see what that is? Did you see what Christy said about that person? No. But Christ says, that's fulfilled. That's covered. That's how glorious that is. And now we see that his final seconds that he gets to accuse us is gone. And he's being cast down and given the keys to the bottomless pit, where he opens it up and some horrible things are popping up. Sorry. I'm just relaxed. Verse 2, and he opened the bottomless pit, and smoke arose out of the pit like the smoke of a great furnace. So the sun and the air were darkened because of the smoke of the pit. What do you have? 3.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
2.
Yeah, 2.
Okay. So
You got it. You got it.
According to this verse, when Satan opens the shaft of the bottomless pit, dense, extremely hot smoke boils from the shaft. The smoke is so heavy and black that it darkens the sun and the earth's atmosphere. The pollution that spews from the bottomless pit is an appropriate environmental for the spiritual polluted fallen angels. The bottomless pit, the abyss, is the realm of the confinement for demons. When Jesus casted many demons from a man in a country of
Where you got it?
Generases. Probably said that wrong.
Yeah, you're good.
The demon begged him not to command them to depart into the abyss. Luke 8:31. While Jesus reigns on earth for 1,000 years, Satan will be confined to the abyss. Revelations 20:1-3 tells us John saw an angel coming down from heaven, holding the keys in his hand to the bottom of the pit and a great chain. He sees the dragon, the ancient spirit who is the devil and Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years, and threw him into the pit, and shut it and sealed it over him, so that he may not deceive any nations any longer until 1,000 years were ended. The bottomless pit is also mentioned in Romans 10:7, Revelations 11:7, and Revelation 7:18.
I hate that your nose step on friggin' later on.
Sorry. You want me to not say that?
No, but that's where I get my view that there is no one in hell right now. I believe Hades, which was this is a diatribe from way before Christ, where it says Abraham's bosom. If you read that story about Lazarus and the rich man, where there was 2 sections, and the guy in Hades can see across. I believe that Hades is still alive and still going, and people that die outside of Christ are there. I don't believe the bottomless pit is still opened up until right now. And I don't think that people are thrown in there until that time when Satan, where you read in 20, gets thrown in there. But that's a tertiary, that's a secondary thing that it's not going to cost me my salvation if you don't agree with that kind of stuff. But 3, then out of the smoke, locusts came upon the earth, and to them was given power as scorpions of the earth. Now these were he's saying they were locusts, so he knows locusts. John knows locusts. They came out of the smoke. The smoke, locusts came to the earth and to power. So it wasn't like he didn't say it was like locusts. No, they were locusts. So, and John would know locusts from being in Jerusalem, the crop killers that locusts are, so he would know. Let me see. John's metaphors are meant to describe strength, aggression, fear, fierce oppression, and destructive power. Locusts will attack those who do not see. Okay. Smoke of the pit rises. Hell is depicted as a place where the fire never goes out. Mark 9, Luke 3. The locusts are, according to this, my notes, the locusts are not real locusts because they do not harm the vegetation. So they're hell locusts. They won't go in after vegetation. They have a king, and God promised to never release swarms of locusts in judgment again after that particular plague in Egypt. Rather, they are an image of demons swarming over the earth. So maybe it is a like.
And it said even here, some interpreters even suggest that John might have seen military machines of the future.
Well, I did this book by myself
Yeah.
the last time, and I got comments. What do you think they are? You know, now later on we're going to see. Later on, I think in the sixth trumpet or whatever, where John is trying to describe armor-plated locusts with men's faces and stuff like that.
Says that this verse also states that they receive power from scorpions. The most potential ability of a scorpion is to sting, painful with venom that inflames the nerves.
But it says that they're not going to die, so it couldn't be a.
The ill effects of a sting may last for days. This passage will continue to explain the terrible effects of these demonic creatures. So it's just
maybe their sting is a plague.
Yeah.
Because it says, you know, we'll see later exactly what's going on. That people will wish that were stung by these things, will wish they were died, but death. God takes away the power of death from here. Nobody can die now. Nobody is dying from this point on. He's taken the power of death away. Other than martyrs, the only ones who are going to die. These unbelievers that are not sealed will not die. They will fall. They will, remember the last chapter, or was it chapter before, where they were talking about that they were hiding caves and they were wishing for the rocks to fall on. What was it?
It was the one before.
Yeah. They were hiding in rocks. Oh, yeah, it was 8. They were hiding in rocks and telling the rocks to fall on them to hide them from the Lamb because they knew exactly what was going on. But they were not dying. So death will be taken away from here, as we'll see later on here. They are commanded to harm. This is verse 4. They are commanded to harm the grass. They were commanded not to harm the grass of the earth or any green thing or any tree, but only those men who do not have the seal of God on their foreheads. Those are the 144,000. Okay, the only people sealed at this time are the 144,000 Israelite Jews and the 2 witnesses. That's it. That's the only ones left that are unsealed at this time. The only ones, we saw that earlier when we were talking about the 44,000. They were sealed for redemption, to be a witness. They cannot be killed. They cannot be hurt. The 2 witnesses, the same thing. They cannot be killed. They cannot be hurt. They're witnesses. They're sealed by God, untouchable. They will not die. Go ahead.
We learn from this verse that the locust-like demons John saw were told not to target vegetation, but only unbelievers, those who do not have the seal of God on their foreheads. God protects his children. Psalms 91 declares this truth. The psalmist writes, "He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will abide in the shadow of the Almighty. For he will deliver you from the snare of the flower, and from the deeply pestilent." Psalms 91, 1 through 3. In verses 9 through 10, the psalmist writes, "Because you have made the Lord your dwelling place, the Most High, who is my refuge, no evil shall be allowed to befall you, no plague come near your tent.
Psalms 91. They use that for COVID, remember?
Yeah.
That was all over the internet for COVID.
Of course, a believer may experience illness, injury, even death, but only though a Lord allows it. When he does allow adversity and death, it always works for the believer's good. And we all know, for those who love God, all things work together for good for those who are called according to his purpose. Romans 8:28. From prison, Apostle Paul testified, "For me to live in Christ is to die again, and die is gain." Philippians 1:21. The specific mission of these creatures and the narrow effect they have is one challenge to interpret later description as references a modern war machine. So that war thing was brought up again.
Yeah, but all they do is sting. I mean, if you had a Black Hawk helicopter shoot at you, it's not going to just sting. It's going to destroy you. So I can't put 2 and 2 together with that. The locusts will attack those who are sealed by God. You just said that. The 144,000 Jewish evangelists will be protected, along with the Jews and the Gentiles. They have one that have one of Christ that they have evangelized. I don't know if God is going to seal that person if they were, well, they have to be martyred. So I don't know if that note is completely correct. We can discuss that. But I don't believe that they will be covered and sealed. The only ones sealed here are the 144,000 evangelists that were sent from the Jewish nation, set apart, virgins, pure witnesses for Christ in the Jewish nation. These are Jews, Jewish virgins, sent out during the tribulation period. And they're the only ones that are sealed in the forehead. A person that gives their life to Christ has to be martyred during the tribulation period, has to be killed for his faith. Has to be. I don't think there's too many people going to live through this stuffola. 5. And they were not given authority to kill them, but to torment them for 5 months. I love when the Lord makes specific. Their torment was like the torment of a scorpion who strikes a man.
It says right here they're not allowed to kill them though.
Yeah, but torture them. The pain of the sting must be painful. Maybe a plague. What do you think? A jab? Maybe because rats carry plague, right? What about these locusts? These bugs? Do they carry a plague?
Or could it be when they sting you, it's sometimes hit your nervous system and can cause the pain?
Yeah, like a plague of Tourette's or Parkinson's or something of that nature. You know, I'm thinking of that. I don't know, but they have to do something where they're torturing these people that are not sealed, which is 144,000. And maybe God covers the ones that are giving their life to Christ during the tribulation period. I don't know. I don't think they have protection of that period. You know, they're going to be killed. This is really deep in the middle of the tribulation. This is really deep. We're talking about maybe in the 3.5 years, or the second 3.5 years during that last 3.5 years when everything is going to hell in a handbasket. What do you think?
Yours were basically really similar to mine.
That's 5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's just the stinging of a plague, or just the stinging of some torture.
And this other one, it's a little side thing. The normal life cycle of locusts is 5 months, usually from May to September.
Oh, nice. So they're real. Maybe my notes were wrong. Maybe they're real locusts and they're carrying a plague. Rats carry a plague. Mosquitoes carry a plague. Why would they not?
Yeah.
Locusts. I don't know. But they can't touch the vegetation. But they were torturing them.
Yeah, I went into another commentary and it talks about maybe it could be sores.
Yeah. Well, we see later that part of the
could be a burn.
Yeah. We see later that some of the plagues in later times are boils. The same as you'll see a lot of similarities to these plagues to the 10 plagues that in Egypt, right? Good job. Yeah, you'll see a lot of similarities. As we can see, locusts here. We'll see later on the sun being baked and blood and well, we saw wormwood last time, right?
It even says maybe some type of deformities.
Could be. Verse 6, in those days men will seek death and will not find it. They will desire to die, and death will flee from them. Many will long for death as an escape for the torture of the demons, but will not be able to die. People will not be. God will shut off the death button. He will flip the switch and say, nobody else is going to die. Nobody else. Maybe the martyrs. I'm hoping, because we have to be martyred. They have to be cleansed themselves. They have to make their robes white from the blood of themselves. They have to be martyred out, right? To get into heaven, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you have? 6. Let me give me some details.
The tormented will find no relief, even though their unimaginable attempts to end their misery and suicide will be unsuccessful. Death will,
Can you imagine?
yeah, death will be a welcome relief to all the suffering. The forces of evil turn loose unrestrained upon the earth, whether physical or spiritual. It will be so terrible that men will beg to die, but unable to do during this punishment. Because you said he turned
The death switch off.
uh, this was one of the first of the three woes.
Yeah. So, have you ever seen those movies Left Behind? They really pander to, they really soften it really, really bad.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be the most horrible time in human history. And this is just the beginning of this. This is just the beginning. We're only 9 chapters in, and there's 22 chapters of this. There's at least 9 more chapters of torture and horrible things going on. In chapter 18, the church shows up again, but yeah, there's almost 9 more chapters of this horrible stuff. But it's the wrath of God. Men have done this. Satan has done this, and he's just pouring out his wrath. We have built up wrath for thousands and thousands of years. Men have built up wrath, and God's wrath has built up all this time, and now his time to unleash it. God can only hold on for so long. He's patient for so long, and then his patience will rain down, and his anger will be fulfilled. And this is him fulfilling his anger, even using the devil and his demons to do so. Verse 7, the sheep of the locust. Okay, now here's the likes. Now take this what you will. Now you got some notes on this probably.
I'm going over them right now.
Dig it, because we need some. Take it what you will. This is a first century gentleman. He's not a stupid person. He's filled with the Holy Spirit, so the Holy Spirit inspires him to do this, but uses his mentality and his personality, his first century mentality, to try to figure out what he's seeing. It's kind of like us trying to see a future thing. Us seeing a Cybertruck when we were 10 years old.
Right.
Or a Black Hawk helicopter or something of that nature. Something catastrophic when we were 9 or 10 years old. You know, we couldn't put it in our brains, right? And this is John doing the same thing. Verse 7, the shape of the locusts like horses prepared for battle. Their heads were like crowns of something like gold. The heads were crowns of something like gold, and their faces were like the faces of men. Whew. Okay.
It says this might help a little. Here again there have been desires to find some physical appearances in locusts that suggest a crown of gold as an antenna. The rugged elevation in the middle of the thorax have been imagined in some resemblance to a crown, and the face of the locust has actually said bears under ordinary circumstances a distant and adjusted the most resemblance of a human.
Oh, nice. They have pictures?
No.
That sucks.
That pictures.
What?
I'm
a pictures dude.
I know.
But yeah, so it's John just trying to describe, yeah, it could be, because I've seen a locust before. It's kind of like a grasshopper. We've all seen grasshoppers before. Yeah. You know, that thorax or whatever it was, the antenna where the antennas are, looks like a crown. These are probably massive things, and John is trying his best to describe them as they were ready for battle. On their heads were crowns of something like gold, and their faces were like the faces of men. He's trying his best to describe.
Mm-hmm.
What else do you have? Anything?
I'm just kind of skimming. Basically, they're both saying the same thing about the little antennas on them.
Well, if you look at a locust or a grasshopper, doesn't it look like it has armor on? It has those plates.
Yeah, the way they're little.
The way they're.
You don't want to
their
say it's scales, but it's just
scales or their skin or whatever it is. There is like armor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool. I thought you had more than that. They had hair like women's hair, and their teeth were like the lion's teeth. Verse 9.
Oh, you're on 9 already?
That's why I read 8 and 9.
Oh, I didn't hear you. You didn't say you were doing 8 and 9.
Okay.
I was still looking.
Well,
I was on 7.
well, that's 8. Sorry.
Okay.
That's 8.
Okay.
I
Well,
apologize.
I didn't know you were going to do 7 and 8 together.
Okay, good. Do 7 or 8.
I'm looking now because now you threw me off because I try to go ahead. John also writes in verse 8 that the locust's teeth were like of lions. The description concurs with Joel's pathetic description of invading army from the north. Joel 1:6 says, "A nation has come against my land, powerful and beyond numbers. The teeth are lions, teeth and it has fangs of a lioness." The reference to the lion's teeth emphasizes the ferocity of the demonic locust. However, despite their appearance and potential destructive force, they cannot afflict God's people. Their mission is to torment only those people who have not had the seals of God on their forehead. They keep wanting to hammer that down. You notice that?
Yeah.
Revelation, 9:4, believers have nothing to fear because he who is in us is greater than he who is in the world. 1 John 4:1. 1 John 4:4.
Nice.
I had a cat staring at me. Sorry.
You're waiting for him to claw you.
He did earlier. That's why I was like.
Oh, okay. Yeah. 9. And they had a breastplate like breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was like the sound of a chariots with many horses running in battle. And you could see how some people, some commentators would say that it's maybe like a military helicopter or something of that nature. But I think they're actually real locusts. And he's just describing them. Maybe they're massive. Maybe the battle array is some extra armor or whatever that is on these demons. What do you have?
Well, we were talking about they have the human-like faces and the hair and the lion's teeth. The thorax resembles a horse's armor's plate, making them appear invulnerable. The noise of their flight being so dense resembles the loud sound of chariots and horses rushing into battle.
Yeah.
Obviously, John's vision of the future events leaves some room for interpretation. Big time. Actually, it does leave a lot of room for interpretation.
Well, he's doing his best.
Yeah, because you might interpret it a different way than I'm interpreting it.
I mean, if you separate two people and have them describe a painting or something happen, or two people see an accident, two people will have different perspectives.
Yeah.
So John, in his first century mindset, I'm not saying that first century people are dumb. I'm not saying that. He's filled with the same Holy Spirit as I am. He wrote something down. I couldn't write a paragraph if I needed to. He wrote a book. He wrote 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books of the Bible. So he's a lot smarter than me. But he's trying his best in his first century.
Yeah, it says right here, he's trying to write in his modern technology.
Yeah.
Not ours.
He's trying to describe it by what he sees on a daily basis.
Because their technology was a lot different from what we are now. Yes, we're more advanced.
Oh, way more advanced. But I would rather go back where it's less advanced and more simple. A lot more simple. 10. They had tails like scorpions, and their sting was in their tails, and the power was their power was to hurt men 5 months. Like Christy said, a locust lifespan, which tells me that it's a real locust. Locust lifespan is only 5 months old, and that's what God has given that power to that person, that locust, for 5 months. And they're just here to torture men that are not sealed by Christ. Go ahead. 10.
Okay, I know. I'm skimming.
Oh, you're skimming.
Because some of your stuff was already said it, so I don't want to repeat it. So,
I am not reading off my notes.
When the Lord appeared to Saul of Tarsus on the road to Damascus, he told Saul, "It is hard for you to kick against the goads." Acts 26:14. Apparently, Saul, later called Paul, had been under sharp conviction for his persecution of believers. The conviction felt like picking tortured in his soul. The scorpion stings will feel like a sharp pricking torture in those who do not have a seal of God on their forehead. The scorpion's power to sting resides in their tails, and a demonic scorpion sting power resides in their tails. Those who receive the locust sting will suffer severely. Prior verses can be taken to mean that but again, talking about the 5 months.
The locust cycle life.
That the demons are active for 5 months, or even the effects of their sting will last longer for anyone who is stung. So it's still a little bit of the unknown.
Well, it's interpretation.
It's an interpretation.
Again, you can dig in this and find the Greek and Latin Vulgate for all this, and dig into this. But there's a lot of things we have to realize that there's a lot of things that God is not specific about. If you read the Bible at all, you know there's a lot of things that he is not specific about. He does not have to be, and he does not want to be. He wants faith to grow in this. He wants you to use faith. He wants you to use your brain and the digging to find these things out. It's just he give John utterance to do this, just to give you a vague, well, that's pretty specific description of what's going on, what's going to happen in this tribulation period that I'm not going to see because I'm going to be raptured away. I'm going to be eating apples and pineapples and all this good fruit.
The only time he'll ever eat fruit.
Apples and pineapples off the tree of life in heaven. It says it has 12 fruits that are renewed every month for the 12 tribes of Israel. So I get to eat those 12 fruits and vegetables, which are going to be the most amazing things I've ever eaten in my life because I'll be eating them in heaven with you. We're going to buddy up after we find our family. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that.
You're fine.
But
11.
And they had as king over them the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, but in Greek has his name Apollon. What do you have for that?
Demons as fallen angels are presumed to have ranks in some way as loyal angels. Satan once held a position near God when he was Lucifer. We still Lucifer, but most people just call him Satan now. I don't want anybody to get twisted. When he was in heaven, he was Lucifer.
Yeah, Lucifer was a good name. Satan means deceiver.
Yeah, so we don't want anybody,
liar.
Yeah. Anyway, when Satan, sometimes referred as Lucifer, once held a position near God's throne, but he tried to upspur God's throne and consequently lost his privilege and position. Since his rebellion, he has been called the prince of power of the air, Ephesians 2:2. In Revelations 9:11, we learn about a high-ranking fallen angel he has called Abaddon. Abaddana. I'm not sure. In Hebrew, literally means destruction. And Apollon in Greek literally means one who destroys. Both names can be summarized as meaning destroyer. He is the angel of the bottomless pit and the king of the demonic locust. Perhaps his human counterpart is the king of the north, who leads an invasion into Israel in the middle of the tribulation and leaves the trail of destruction in his path. Daniel 8:23 through 25.
Oh, nice. Very cool. Yeah, mind that the king of the demons and all the demons themselves are fallen angels. The angel of the bottomless pit is the devil. The Hebrew and Greek titles Abaddon and Apollon mean the same thing, destroyer. We all both had the same notes there. Last one. I did that, right? Okay. One woe is past, behold, two woes more to coming are coming after this. That's just the beginning, my friends.
Yeah.
We're only on the fifth trumpet, and the sixth one is coming up soon.
Yep.
And it's just getting worse as we see over and over and over.
Yeah, it says that in chapter 8, the final verses, that there were 3 judgments yet to come, even worse than the first 4.
Yeah.
Revelations 8:13. Chapter 9 has focused entirely on the 5th trumpet of judgment, which was the first woe of those 3. Yeah. 2 more, the 6th and 7th judgments, still lie ahead.
Yeah.
The word woe indicates several suffering and distress in the tribulation is a 7-year period of 7 end time suffering and distress. The second half of the era, called the Great Tribulation, increased the severity of God's judgment on unbelievers as he pours out his wrath upon them. In his ultimate disclosure, Jesus advises righteous Jews to flee the mountains. We already talked about that. And idolatry images stand in a holy place. He remarks, pray that your flight may be in winter or on the Sabbath, for then there will be great tribulation, such as not been from the beginning of the world until now, nor and never will be. Matthew 24:20-21. Wow. Believers today should be extremely grateful that God saved us from the wrath to come. 1 Thessalonians 1:10.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you for joining us, Denise. Hopefully that's correct. Denise?
Well, that's what it looks like.
That will be it for today. Good job, babe.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's a difficult one when we're talking about locusts and stuff like that. I know it's difficult to talk about that, but thank God for commentaries and notes and stuff like that, and us digging in and me reading it already before by myself. You can go back in our YouTube channel and find that. It was
about a year and a half ago, I think.
Yeah, you can go find that in our YouTube channel and get back to us. But we will hope to God see you next week. If not, the week after. So God bless. Love you guys.
Everyone have a good week.
Bye.